All right, talking to us on the freeway in Los Angeles, California, I know it's a little bit trying, is Winston Titus Tao, who is the director of Picture Perfect, which swept the Wildsound Awards at the July Film Festival. How's it going, Winston?
Yeah, it's going good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
How's the traffic?
It was pretty bad. The LA traffic always is, but it's starting to lighten up a little bit right now.
Okay, so you saw the audience feedback video of your film Picture Perfect at our festival. What was your initial reactions? What was your reactions to their reactions to your film?
You know, that's the first time that I've ever seen an actual audience reaction and comments and stuff like that. So it was really cool. It was really humbling just to see how it actually affected them. I really appreciated the comments. It was really cool to see how honest everyone was. You know, a lot of times when you screen it, at least the screenings that I've gone to, it's been a lot of friends that have been able to see, or family members.
Yeah.
And you kind of get that feeling where, you know, a lot of times they're always going to like it because, you know, you've either grown up with them or they know you and they know what you're trying to do and stuff like that. But to see people that, you know, that you've never met before and how it's actually their viewpoint, their take on it, it's a really cool thing.
Is there anything that stood out, like anybody's comment or reactions that stood out for you?
Yeah, I liked the comments where I think there was one guy that said he kind of wished that he didn't see the picture in the end.
Yeah.
And I always see where he was coming from, because that was something that we were really wrestling with, whether or not to put those in at the end of the film, because it wasn't ever about, you know, the competition. It was mainly about this kid's relationship with his father. So but that was kind of like the icing on the cake, that we felt like it'd be fun to kind of put it in there and kind of close it off with a little bit of a brighter, happier ending. So we decided to go ahead and do it, but I really appreciated his comment there.
We also got, there's also like a gun control kind of reaction, because in Canada we don't really have guns.
that was pretty funny. Me and my brother were had a good laugh with that one.
Because it's true that's like the ultimate, people don't understand, that would be the ultimate sacrifice for this character to give up his gun, I guess.
Yeah, and I really appreciated that man's comment too, because I know that wouldn't necessarily happen with those types of people, but at the same time, you know, you have to make those decisions as a storyteller and as a filmmaker, and blur those lines between fiction and reality. And for our story, it was one of those things where that was the only thing that made sense for the father's character arc. You know, because in our story, the pills and stuff like that wasn't the thing that he was necessarily holding on to. It was a lot more than that. It was these little things that you regarded and revered more than his family. And that was a symbol that we had to show in order for him to give that up. Like,
yeah.
So something is, you know, like as tangible as just a simple rifle, you know, which wasn't simple in that family's eyes. That was something that just needed to happen. And when we were writing it, it just felt right, you know, for that to happen, and it made sense. But I can totally understand where he was coming from, and you know, I understand that side too. So that was good to hear. That was really good to hear.
And like, I don't even know if you knew this, but the actor looks exactly like a hockey player, like a very, very famous hockey player, Sidney Crosby. Did you know that they're almost spitting image?
No, I didn't know that. Are you talking about the father?
No, the son.
Yeah, no.
Just when you're off the highway, just Google Sidney Crosby, and he looks exactly like the kid in your film.
Okay, that's awesome. I'll do that. He came in, and he actually read for a different character. He came in and he read for the Ryder character, which was the guy who's initially asking for the pills. You know, talking about Grimm's character and stuff like that. So right when he came in, we knew that he didn't look right for the role, but he did such a fantastic job that we we had him come in to read for like 3 or 4 different roles, initially his role was written for a younger character, but the more he came in, the more that we kind of started considering him for the lead, and then we ended up rewriting it just for him. He did such a fantastic job, and he did great. He really did a great job.
Yeah, he was terrific.
Yeah.
So why, like, Picture Perfect? It's kind of a unique story, like, especially the setting, that kind of like I called it, when during the moderation, I called it like kind of like the U.S. third world setting, I guess. Like, what appealed you for the story?
You know, it was my thesis film for Chapman, and it's kind of like that film where they put a lot of pressure on you, and so we knew that we wanted to say something with it, you know, and so we went through like a bunch of different ideas for our thesis film, and it wasn't until we saw a documentary with Diane Sawyer on the people in the Appalachian community, and how they struggle with all of these things and how it affects their family. It really brought us to tears on how much of a role reversal these kids end up doing, and how the parents don't end up realizing the effect that drugs like OxyContin and pill pushing and all these things, how it actually affects them, until something traumatic happens in their life, and they end up realizing that they need to make a change. And in this documentary, it's like half of these parents end up trying to do something, even if it's something as small as getting their GED again, and the other half don't end up doing anything, and it's these kids that end up taking care of these younger siblings and stuff like that. So we wanted to kind of bring this story to light in a fictional narrative form, and really do something personal, because in our lives we kind of have experienced something similar to that. But with our mom, who's kind of brought us up, she has a mental kind of disability, and we kind of related to that role reversal situation. And so it was kind of personal, and it allowed us also to have a little bit of creative freedom in it, because we haven't grown up in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Like that. So it was something that we felt like we could have fun with, but allow it to be a little bit personal too.
No, it's interesting because you're basically describing, like, thematically it's a very personal film, but the setting, you've changed the setting to something unique, I guess, and so you have a different, kind of an original eye to this world because you didn't grow up in this world, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. It allowed us to be creative and artistic, especially with the way that we wanted to deliver it through the shots, the cinematography, all of that stuff, but at the same time, through the message of it, allow us to be, relate, to convey it in a personal way. That's exactly, what we were thinking. So, yeah.
So I basically described them, the moderation, and hope no offense, I described them the Deliverance characters. Like, where did you find those guys? Just from LA Central Casting, and they just kind of like morphed in those characters, or were those like straight from the...
We basically, we held a casting session. Half of the cast I've worked with before on like really small projects, like exercises and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they were fantastic. And the father, I saw him in another Chapman thesis film, and it's kind of funny. We saw him and we were like, man, this guy's fantastic. And we felt like he could really pull off the role that we were thinking. So we initially wrote it for him, and we wrote his name in there in the script, like his actual name's Ronnie. So we wrote his on the script, and we set up a meeting with him and sent him the script. Hopefully thought that he'd like it, and he did. And so he said he'd do it, and we ended up never changing the name, his character name. We ended up just keeping it the same, the actual movie. And so that's how we cast him. And then the kid, was through LA Casting. Like I said, he came in for a different role. And
what about the girl?
The girl, she came in through LA Casting as well. We saw hundreds of little girls, and we had a huge callback session for all of them. And then this girl came in, Olivia, and right when she came in, we just canceled our callback session and booked her on the spot because she just was phenomenal.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was able to bring a real humanity to it. I mean, she just did a great job. We had her read it numerous ways. We had her improv stuff, and everything that she did was, it's incredible for her age how much of a grasp that she had. You know, not only on the role, but just in acting in general.
Yeah.
It's great to work with.
So when I was looking at this film, it's almost like there's a future for like a lot of people who are like you and your brother, especially the young actor, the girl especially. Like there seems like it's not going to be the last of seeing you guys. I guess that was the impression I got.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I really hope so. I mean, every single person in the cast was phenomenal, not only in their talent, in our opinion, but just to work with. And we really hope that, you know, Olivia's doing great. She's booked some features with Aaron Paul and some different actors and stuff. She's doing really good for herself. Ronnie's been doing really good. We really hope that, you know, that they can, you know, have work and really show that they do, you know, have talent and that they can keep working, because they're not only talented people, but they're just fantastic to work with. And
it's funny.
We're hoping that we can still, you know, work together also.
But it's funny that you were talking about like she just booked something with Aaron Paul, because I was just going to bring up the cinematographer on the next question, basically, and like there was a lot of like Breaking Bad-esque kind of like cinematography in your film, and it could be just unconscious, but like I was just like your cinematographer did a fantastic job with this film.
Yeah, he did a great job. He did a fantastic job. We all graduated together, and you know, it's kind of one of those things that your key crew they're all seniors, and we just had multiple you know, meetings, and I was talking with Andrew on the look of it and all this stuff, and he just knew right when he was reading the script, he'd throw all these different ideas on how he thought of shooting it and the look of it and everything like that. We actually didn't see Breaking Bad until we finished. Right when we were watching it, though, I had never really watched television before.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad was the first TV show that I actually got hooked on, and it was, the entire time I was watching it, I was like, man, I'd love to do something like this. This is amazing.
I think that you will do something like this, because I think you're centering on a similar thematic in a lot of ways. It's two different stories, but it's a very similar thematic. So
yeah.
So what is next for you and your brother? What do you guys are graduated? What are you guys doing now?
Yeah, we're actually working on our first feature right now. We have an opportunity to get into the Sundance Writers Lab at my school, which is a really cool opportunity. So we have until September to finish our screenplay, and it's kind of a social commentary on mental health in our country. It kind of follows the lives of 4 different family members, and how each family member has one member who deals with a mental sickness in one way or another, whether it be schizoaffective bipolar or bipolar or schizophrenia, and how each member is in the different stages in their life, and how it affects all of their families. And it kind of is all connected through a really tragic incident that one of these mentally sick members, one of them actually ends up committing, and how all these families are kind of brought together through that, how they're all connected through that. So it's a really personal movie for us because of, you know, our mom, stuff like that. And throughout the years, we've kind of experienced a really rare way in which it's been very difficult for us to get the help that we've needed for her. And so we kind of wanted to make a film to address a lot of these topics in the mental health community. And I think it's something that is a big topic right now, you know, regarding a lot of instances that have happened. But
sure,
that's not something that we wouldn't necessarily want to touch on. We don't want to do like a huge shooting kind of a thing, but we do want to touch on just getting these people help. You know, that they're not bad people, and how it affects families.
But mainly what you did with Picture Perfect, you want to tell a good story, right? You don't want to tell people what to think. You just want to tell a good story, right?
Yeah, we want to tell a good story, and we want to tell it in a way that it makes people think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly.
You and your brother have a point of view, so, and like that's like, you know, people think that's easy to find. Like some people, everybody thinks everybody has a point of view, but you guys really have a point of view, and that's what makes you a really good director, and that's what made this film really good. And people really responded to this film in the audience. Like 100 people in that theater like loved this film, and so you're already 10 steps ahead of everybody else. So congratulations. Like I told you in the email, you swept the awards. It's only happened once before, and it wasn't like these other films that we're showing were like poor films. There were some pretty accomplished films. So, so you got a future ahead of you, and like make sure that your next film you bring it our way so that we can showcase it again.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to do that. Thank you.
Winston, congratulations, and thanks for doing this while you're driving on the freeway. Hopefully nobody got in any accidents.
Yeah, I'm still good.